But we are just about ready to go into picks and bans here for Game 2, Taco. That soul pick is something that's got to be questioned here for him. Is that Cerberus going to be something that they value as, again, for eUnited? Let's see what kind of adjustments they try and make going into the Game 2 picks.
I'm a fan of the Cerberus pickup for PBM. I think that he did a really strong job and understood that his role was to be aggressive, but also remember to peel for his teammates. I did feel that towards the mid-late game stages, he started leaning a little bit too much onto that aggressive stance and maybe falling back a little bit more. I would actually prefer to see him maybe steal away the Terra pick and take it for himself.
Steal that Terra away. That could be something that could be very strong for them. Of course, they did have the double Guardian last game. They did have the Warrior on their team. I don't know if that's something that you think they should go for again. I feel like, you know, you think Benji, you think like him annoying on the Cucullin or something unkillable and unmovable in a team fight. So that might be another adjustment they look to make as, again, we're seeing Nemesis, Habois, Thoth, these very strong characters that are pretty standard bans.
Not really wanting to worry about the mobility and a lot of that secureable, easily secure damage, I should say, from the Nemesis. Probably the main reasons why we're seeing eUnited take away those two picks. Don't want to have to worry about the burst damage. Same thing could be said from Luminosity, Uller, and Thoth. Uller, PandaCat has a really nasty one.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't want to let eUnited have their way with that god. And the Thoth pick as well. That extended range off of his hieroglyphic wall. Just a little bit too much to handle in some of these team fight situations. Love that Athena pickup, though, from eUnited. I think that's a great response because Gino didn't exactly have the strongest performance for his debut set, but I do feel that he was effective enough with those Defender of Olympuses that he still got the job done when he needed to.
I like Athena too, Taco, but what I'm liking a lot less is this soul run back getting to happen. I mean, we saw how devastating it was last game. LG unafraid to insta-lock that one in, and then they put it with that Artio as well. So now not only are they getting the soul, but the Artio pick that eUnited, I believe they were the ones that had it last game. Now LG have that on their side as well.
The best part about this soul pickup as well is that it isn't just locked in immediately to the hunter role.
Right.
There's still a whole lot of flexibility possible here. I mean, we could even see Kiki, I think, is a primary example of somebody who loves pulling out the unexpected.
That's a great point.
Would not be surprised to see him running a soul solo, but I would anticipate it to still probably be favored towards hunter role simply because Ocean just had such a great showing on it.
No, I think that's one of Kiki's greatest strengths is that he's very flexible in his playstyle. We've seen him do whatever it is that his team needs from him to do, and I don't know if there's a more valuable trait that a teammate can have than that, really. It's something that Kiki does so well. I do want to highlight, though, here, we got the Morrigan locked in. Such a strong god. If you're going to give the soul up, I guess Morrigan means you can have your own soul.
You can have your own soul. You can also have your own Terra or Artio.
Sure.
Whatever Luminosity drafts, eUnited can take for their own as well. That's something that Luminosity has to keep in mind. One of the main benefits to picking up that Morrigan is you have to worry. Whatever we take, they might try to use against us. If you try to look for a double Humbat's ultimate, for example, I could see as a possibility from eUnited. I could also maybe see the 6 Bastet Cats of Hell. That's pretty much what it breaks down to. A lot of assassin options still left on the table here for both teams.
Yeah, of course, that is the Changeling ultimate we're talking about there with Morrigan. She can, again, just turn to any other character in the game for a duration and has access to all their skills then. And especially if someone's ahead, she can just basically borrow a bit of that lead. We're now moving into though, the second ban phase, and we are seeing, like you said, they're turning their eye a little bit towards the jungle. Not in bots, but Circad and Daji. You kind of don't want Circad in the game at all. Well, they're the ones banning away the Circad, but you want to make sure you get those high-pressure junglers out of here.
I just wouldn't want to let somebody who has a large part of their branding logo with the Circad involvement get it. Weekend has a very notable Circad. We've seen it in the past. He's had a lot of success with it, so no real surprises, at least not from our end, to see eUnited prioritizing some of these assassin bans. Maybe imagine Robin ban. Robin was able to be a large part of Luminosity's dive composition, and eUnited doesn't want to have to worry about that again.
I like this. Robin, we've seen be very strong here, and it was a little bit surprising. I mean, assassins right now are so strong in the jungle. It feels like everyone's doing damage, and everyone's able to successfully get those kills. Robin is being built damage a lot of the time, so it's not as if it's like the typical tanky warrior we used to see, but this time, Robin taken off the table so they don't have to worry about it, and Luminosity will instead take the Hou Yi.
the Hou Yi and the immediate response of the Anhur and Bakasura. That is a guy that we have not seen in quite some time. He was nonstop being talked about at the start of Season 5 when the new map was first being introduced, because Baka having that ability to eat minions and jungle camps, it just makes his farm a little bit faster than what you could probably expect from some of the other assassins. But against what Luminosity has drafted, there is so much CC on Luminosity's team that this Bakasura might be struggling a little bit here.
Yeah, you might have to put a pepper next to this game, because it's some spicy picks that we're seeing, Taco. You talked a little bit about how Bakasura eat minion is so strong. That confirm is strong for invades as well. I mean, the potential for him to go in and steal farm away, better than a 50-50 is pretty high. I will be very sad if this is not Kiki's signature Arachne solo. Since the very first moment he entered the pro scene, this was his go-to god. Yeah.
And for the recent Arachne buff, she's kind of being brought back into the limelight, and I will be a little shocked if Kiki is not running this in solo.
That's something that we're expecting. Hou Yi being locked in, so that means we're likely going to be seeing the Hou Yi, the AC, and then Sol going to the mid lane, or could it still be a Hou Yi mid here?
Oh, when it comes to Keegs, he's actually a very noticeable Hou Yi player. Actually talked about a lot amongst most of the ranked scene, and I think even competitive players have taken note of how much presence keegsmate can have on this Hou Yi. I wouldn't be too shocked to see it. Plus, you would have that Mark of the Crow to use against the Morrigan's Imbis, which is very useful.
That's right. Well, Taco, I'm going to put you on the spot here one more time. LG, do they get the upset, or eUnited going to force a game 3 here?
I think Luminosity's got the better draft.
Wow. Picking Luminosity to 2-0 against eUnited. Can it happen? Let's get it over to the casters to find out.
Yes. After that performance, my answer is absolutely yes. And, it's interesting. I want to kind of errata what I said before. When we closed the game, I said, what we saw out of eUnited, kind of negative connotation. I don't think eUnited played poorly. I think that Luminosity just really stepped it up more than I expected.
I definitely think that both teams could have cleaned up a little here, a little there. Any game that lasts 50 minutes, there's definitely certain points in the game that you can look back on, like, all right, we did this right, did that wrong, clean that up. I think at the end of the day, it was definitely just LG one step above eUnited. And this game also is going to be a tricky game, I think, for both teams, considering the jungle picks here. Arachne versus Bakasura, very momentum-based driven characters. I saw a lot of Bakasura coming out of Screammmmm and ranked, being paired up a lot with some of his teammates. He's definitely performed well, but how is this going to translate into the SPL? Arachne receiving some buffs as well, increasing her web count to 3, which means you can actually solo a buff with all 3 spiders as long as you have at least 15 additional power from tier 1 mace and going from there.
Very interesting stuff, like you said, as far as the jungle picks, and I think that's where a lot of people are going to be concerned. The Bakasura is interesting because I feel like a lot of what Bakasura had was kind of lost when they made the jungle camps very easy to kill.
Sure, but like with less spawning time, like reduced spawning time for all these buffs means there's more time for you to clear. Wider map means that Bakasura is just going to get there that much quicker with his passive, increasing his movement speed and his attack speed. As long as he's consistently killing things, means there's a lot of momentum from Screammmmm, as long as he's going to be able to not be disrupted by the enemies. I think that he should be in a good spot, especially with their group up here. Is there any horrifics?
No, look at what Benji's doing. Benji by himself is trying to goad Luminosity, and they're going to take the bait. eUnited put it out. Hook, line, sinker. Benji is going to be very low, but will get out of there. Luminosity take the bait, but eUnited unable to reel everybody in. Nice play. I loved that idea. They just dangled Benji out there like a piece of red meat.
Yeah, and they took the bait, absolutely. And that's nice idea here, the timing of it, because it's still before the minion spawn. Benji's not going to really miss out on anything. And Luminosity, they drop a ward next to the speed buff just to see where the pathing is going to happen from Screammmmm. Is he going to go towards his backs and his blue, or is he going to make that switch towards the dueling and look for an early level 2 gank?
Well, it's an interesting way to start the game as PolarBearMike gets surrounded and pounded. Weaken puts him down. PolarBearMike sits that one out. And that might tilt you in a direction. Luminosity is first blood, an indicator of a win. Let us know with your vote in Mixer chat, but bam, that was a play.
Wigan got the first blood in game number 1 as well when he dove Venenu, playing that Robin against the Agni, forcing out the beads, but was still committed. It was a little bit later in the game. It was on the speed buff respawn timer, but starting things off very strong here. Didn't even have to really use the blink. The idea and mindset of Luminosity is definitely countering eUnited. We were mentioning how they weren't going to necessarily just straight up outplay you and out-aim their abilities. They were going to out-strategize you, and they certainly have done so against the world champions.
KikiSoCheeky playing that mid lane Hoi. Here comes Oceans out of the jungle. Interesting play. You know what I find interesting about this Luminosity team, Tully? There's 2 Arachne players in a world where not many exist. 2 of them are on the same team.
And Taco was alluding that it could potentially be Kiki playing the Arachne. Hold that thought, though. Geno going to get stunned now, taking a little bit more damage, but only level 1 on both PBM and PandaCat. Difficult to lock down the bear. Going back to Kiki, playing Arachne on the solo lane here with the rest of the composition, very difficult to find where the Terra and the Artio would go. Would it be Artio jungle instead? It's very confusing.
Look at this one. 19% of you thought that LG was going to win game number 1. But after that, that's a big old change right there. A lot more people coming out rooting for the blue and white.
Yeah, and still, though, going for eUnited, despite the fact that it was LG getting that first blood.
Luminosity. You know what's funny is that eUnited set up the first blood and didn't get it. Yeah. And then LG kind of, why are you here, Mike? I guess we'll kill you. Just sort of fell into the first blood.
It definitely helped the fact that there was just an outnumber as well. There's just more LG jerseys around, recognizing the fact that the dual lane out of eUnited wanted to be around that corner with that 1 kill, 3 assists. You know, 4 members stood strong for PBM around that corner.
So Kiki playing the same character that he did last game, but changing things up a bit against the Cerberus. This time around, instead of going Mage's Blessing, he's getting a little bit more sustain by way of the Warrior's Blessing. He's going to get health and mana back every time he punches Benji in the face. Now, riddle me this. Is that because of the specific matchup?
It's a little bit of the matchup, but more importantly, the other people in the game as well. Last game it was Scream playing the Camazotz. This game he's playing the Bakasura. His attack speed is going to be very quickly. Yes, he does true damage with Butcher Blades, but Warrior's Blessing still reduces it. It's a flat number. It's not physical. It does give you physical protection once you evolve it, but it works similar to Mark of the Vanguard of yesteryear, of how it just straight up reduces a flat number, and that's very important because of the ticks coming from Benji, the constant basic attacks from Scream, and not to mention the PandaCat having Desert Furies, quite a few ticks as well.
So will this be the only change that we see in this build? Because remember last time, I mean, Pike Dags, Voidstone, Terra not exactly bringing a lot of damage, but certainly was building other than pure tank.
I could see a Morguardian mail being mixed in just to hug Scream.
Please?
Like anytime the ultimate comes out with Butcher Blades, you want to be standing next to Scream if you have Morguardian mail, hoping that he's going to proc it, slow his attack speed, which also is a kind of pseudo peel for your teammates.
Witchblade also a strong pickup against Bakasura, who's basically all about the attack speed. I guess similar to a Freya in that regard, but very different since it's all the true damage on the Butcher Blades. Right now, Ocean's taking damage, and the ultimate going to be dodged out, still alive. Wow. And he'll be singing that song through portals. 1 kill for Luminosity, no kills for eUnited as they come up short.
Terra's Blessing was even used trying to save out Oceans, and that's a long cooldown in comparison to PandaCat's 75-second on her ultimate, not being able to catch Venenu. I like the idea, though, as keegsmate dropped the Suns in the mid-tier 1 tower, kind of trying to zone out the escape path from Venenu, but Venenu was a little bit one step ahead there, going underneath towards his own red buff instead.
It's been a while since we've seen a character like Arachne come out. She's one of the most adept 1v1 characters, going all the way back. Brandon from Season 0 used to say, "Don't fight the bug." And those words ring true today. You don't fight the bug. But how does this character transition into team fight time? I mean, she's very much an isolationist.
Yes, especially with Blink. That's your basic goal. She's not going to control an entire squad. She's picking one target and sticking on that target, and if she gets in danger, she's just going to ulti away. Similar to the way Screammmmm was playing Camazots the last game, right?
Sure.
He blinks in, tries to go for his target. When it was Luminosity sieging the dual lane Phoenix, he tried to go onto keegsmate. He couldn't really find the kill, so what does he do? He escapes with his ultimate, finds the kill on keegsmate because he took too much Phoenix damage and damage from the rest of the sources. And I could see that being a similar case. If Weekend doesn't find an early kill, he's just going to have to use that ulti prematurely.
Nice taunt around PolarBearMike, and Geno's going to have to walk away.
But some of the stronger things as well is if there are any targets out of position from eUnited, Weekend will isolate them just like that, or maybe even force an early escape. Screammmmm having to jump away defensively means he's not going to be able to chase down any targets. Weekend has a lot of damage over time with that bite, not to mention locking them down with a slow and a little miniature stun, making it easier for the rest of his teammates to clean up.
Yeah, that stun, there's nothing miniature about that stun, especially when you're getting hit by the leech life abilities of Arachne. Arachne can be one of the most frustrating characters to fight against, but she's just not seen that often. What keeps her out of the spotlight?
It's just because it's a high risk, high reward. Arachne that is behind stays behind. Very difficult to come back into it.
Ultimate out of PandaCat to avoid some of the CC nonsense. Oceans immediately into the Disapparate underneath the tower. And the same is going to be said about his support. NotGeno, still okay. The blink forward coming out from the Assassin is going to cause 2 jumps. Weekend takes to the sky. Landing now on PandaCat. No, he's going to turn around. Lands on Venenu. Puts down the mid laner. You do not rotate in Weak Daddy's jungle. Kill number 2 for LG.
Very easy to lock down somebody that doesn't have a natural escape. Venenu, caught between a rock and a hard place. His ultimate was just not impactful there whatsoever. It was a pure disengage from eUnited after they realized that they couldn't find the kill onto Oceans. That Disapparate is so annoying to deal with. And I was actually really surprised that they just didn't pick the Soul. Instead, they first picked the Athena. They were really worried about that primary engage that Geno did in the last team fight in game number 1 when he baited himself out, absorbed all the cooldowns, and the rest of his team cleaned up.
Also, when I'm playing against newer players, I need to see your God pool. I am going to believe that you can only play the characters I've seen you play until you prove me otherwise. Take that Athena away. Geno here, like I said, technically not a rookie. He played 1 or 2 games with Vivian or whatever. No. This, okay, sure. Geno is a rookie. I want to see him play. Show me that he can play the other characters.
Well, there's 2 things. Either you do that and you let Oceans play the Soul, or if you're going to have Oceans play the Soul, stop trying to kill him. You're just not going to go for it. Like, all these plays on the dual lane here, like, what are you getting out of it? Like, there's no buff invades after the fact. Gold Fury even going the way of Luminosity after killing Venenu, and things are just not working the way eUnited originally had in their game plan.
Yeah, I mean, this is worse than game number 1, where Luminosity slowly took the lead. They get an early objective. Nice ultimate from PandaCat. I like that play right there. Now 2 players surrounding PolarBearMike as Panda leaves him alone. PolarBearMike ults him. Nice.
That's 2 ultimates, though, being used just to secure a purple buff. Terra's Blessing was podded by Kiki, trying to enable his teammates to find the potential chase, but too far of a gap closer there between that Defender of Olympus and Anhur jumping over the wall.
The Oracles will go to Luminosity as well, so they have vision on the non-gold Fury since it's down right now.
And
Pigs
now,
is coming out on the Hunter.
Yeah, look at this. Oceans is now the one being aggressive in a weird way. Not being aggressive by trying to find basic attacks against PandaCat, but basically just trying to freeze the wave and zone out PandaCat from getting very important golden experience. And every single minion you can deny against PandaCat means that he's not building those stacks of his Hunter's Blessing.
Very, very true. Soul, I mean, excuse me, Soul very powerful here. Ocean's powerful in his own right. Actually won the MVP here in game number 1 per your guys' request. Here's does Cloud got to be scared for his job?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that Venenu, now Clout, is a fantastic mechanical player, and I think Oceans is as well. I think who works better in the chemistry, we don't really know how much time that Oceans can actually dedicate long-term as opposed to Clout. That's another factor.
Okay, so yeah, so many different variables here. You know what I would actually love? I would love it, and this is kind of a pipe dream of mine. I would love to see a world where in the games where they want to play Venu's God Pool, they bring him out. In the games that they want to play Ocean's God Pool, they bring him out. That's fun to me. I like that idea of a wide, because then, I mean, you can play anything you want.
And on top of that, even maybe potentially just doing some lane swapping as well. A lot of people will pick certain gods and then flex it between different roles and staying in that role, but sometimes it's easy to switch up a role. Like if you're playing a high bursty warrior in the solo lane, just put him in mid, try to abuse the mid mage and get that early advantage, and then have a very safe mage against a warrior instead in the solo lane.
That's that Coach Tolley right there. I don't know if Coach Tolley could have saved eUnited's duo lane as they get smacked down by another rotation out of weekend 3-0-1 for the Arachnid. And Luminosity are flying high. keegsmate gonna jump underneath the tower. Okay, now I can say it. That's a zoning ult.
That, absolutely. He was very fearful that Scream was going to jump in, and look what Luminosity is doing. Committing to this. They killed the duo lane, and just like Game 1, Tier 1 tower in Game 1 fell around the 8-minute mark.
Yes.
And now, 10 minutes in, the Tier 2 falls in the duo lane. Oceans on the Soul. We were talking about that passive. Very difficult to kind of handle and maintain, especially with Hunter's Blessing fully stacked up here.
Here's something I want to stress. It was 9:59 on the clock. Killing a Tier 2 tower before your opponent can even surrender. I mean, that just feels bad, man. Like, that just is not a good look.
No, not at all. Well, at least it's not a Phoenix, right? So.
But again, Game 1 was so much more even, at least in the beginning. Luminosity already ahead by 4,000? Totally, this is the defending world champs eUnited. What's happening?
There's still a long game to play, and if they win this one, they got to go to a game number 3. On the bright side, though, Scream does have some levels, and especially if they can finally lock down Ocean, that's in no man's land.
Zooming around, avoiding tons of PandaCat damage, almost takes him out in the process. But the young hunter does find his hit there just before he falls over.
Normally, obviously, you don't want to be there. When there's no Tier 1 tower or Tier 2, there's nothing for you to gain except for a Phoenix. However, what PandaCat was doing there was freezing the wave, last hitting the wave, and if Oceans doesn't show up, then that means he has to share waves elsewhere, and that's not going to be a good look for his teammates. So by PandaCat kind of last hitting and freezing the wave, that's baiting Oceans in a tricky spot where there's not too much vision, especially underneath.
And that's exactly what we were talking about in game number 1. We mentioned it, but didn't get to see it. How the players will freeze the wave, not just to deny experience, but also to make sure that it's in a safer spot and force the opponent to step up. This time we see the result of that. Oceans is forced to step up, like you mentioned, and gets punished.
And it's also just to get back into the game. Outside of the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower, what separates Oceans and PandaCat is that exact 400 gold just from the tower. So it's not like PandaCat is behind because, you know, he died that one time. It's because of those towers more than anything else. Double taunt from PBM. Not too much follow-up there as Venenu kind of had to run away from Weekend.
Gold Fury just spawned, and Luminosity are well aware of it. They're going to be central around this left side area. And eUnited just going to flirt around with it. Scream shows his face, gets marked, he's in trouble. He walks away.
I like the Hou Yi pick also from keegsmate. It's something that he actually preferred in console a lot.
Yeah.
And especially against Morrigan, you just lock her down with that Mark of the Golden Crow, and you can spot her out whenever she's in stealth.
Gold Fury started by LG. Gold Fury finished by LG.
Quick and easy.
Just like that.
13 minutes in, their second Gold Fury. They got Tier 2 tower in the duo lane. Looking very strong to get a clean 2-0 sweep here against the world defending champions.
Which is, like I said, I mean, this is One person tweeted at me, so congratulations, Freddie, that predicted Luminosity was going to win. But everybody else out there, I think, had their money on eUnited. And, and this is, I say this all the time, as an analyst, when I predict sort of negative stuff for people, I want to be proved wrong. I'm so happy to see this Luminosity squad performing as well as they are. This is a treat to watch, and seeing this go head-to-head with eUnited is going to be an exciting Season 5. That's all I got to say.
Oh, absolutely. Especially with these spicy picks already. keegsmate playing Hou-Yi in the mid lane. Arachne and Bakasura in the same game.
I'll give you the Assassins. Mid Hou-Yi, come on, that's old hat.
It's not as old as you would probably expect it to be. Like, it's around like late Season 3, specifically. A Scream blinks and he's trying to find a target, but Weekend's going to blink out defensively.
Nice stun coming out from Kiki, getting 2 of them between the rocks. 4 players dancing down on the bottom, and a whole different fight going on up top. keegsmate relatively low. He goes down. Venenu finds the kill after that one. Now he's low, and Luminosity going to punish the mid lane. It's mid for mid. Nice trade.
Weekend finally doing what his job required him to do. He was thinking about chasing the Athena for a little bit too long there. He's like, oh, he dashed away. He's going to have that shield absorb charge. Why am I even chasing him? Finally switching to Venenu, which is going to be the easiest target of his life this entire game. No natural escape. He's going to be forced to use that ultimate to change into somebody that does have a natural escape, or maybe just to fight into Weekend.
Yeah, and that's Venenu is one of the first people to come through and I think really show the North Americans how to do the Morrigan. A lot of the Morrigan players wind up over there in Europe. Venenu coming out and bringing this character is always fun to watch.
Baskin also plays it quite a lot as well.
Very true. Very true. I didn't say only. Totally out here playing gotcha force. 15 minutes.
It's got to keep you in check.
Well, it's because you got no mates. Luminosity 5, eUnited 2. And the gold in their favor, that is the red team. Luminosity 5,600, 4,400 experience as well. Very active early game here, but as we shift into this mid section, kind of slowing down a little bit. And that should be expected when you've got these Arachnes and these Bakasuras. They're going to be very active early and late. And this mid game, this is really where your mages kind of say what up.
It's a battle for positioning around Vision and around these objectives respawning. Golf Fury respawning in 2 minutes. Pyromancer was stripped away as well. That's what LG is waiting for. If they can find a pick around their wards, then they're going to proceed towards the Tier 1 tower, whether it's middle or in the solo lane, or they're just going to be like, all right, if we don't get a pick, we're just going to force a Golf Fury and see how eUnited will respond.
Right now, eUnited, any way they can respond, hasn't been good enough. Luminosity has been above them in every team fight. This time, keegsmate not on the money with the Suns. Through the wall, not enough damage.
No, not enough.
Oh, but the blink.
That might have connected if that blink did not happen whatsoever.
I think it absolutely would have. keegsmate does have that accuracy.
Nice double stun as well. A little bit of damage follow-up. Beautiful taunt to disrupt the root coming out of Artio here. The defensive ultimate from Benji, but it's Luminosity getting themselves a Tier 1 tower in the mid.
Yeah, there's no problem with that. Geno's the only one picked up in the ultimate. Not a big deal for the guys on Luminosity. Tier 2 tower almost down, still pushing forward. There goes the Athena ultimate from PolarBearMike, protecting his teammates. Luminosity still healthy as anything else on the planet, waiting and being patient for their opportunity.
The damage, the tower damage rather, from Luminosity is too strong to handle between Soul and the Hou-Yi. eUnited cannot hold on to these towers. Geno dashing in, jump coming out as well. Benji taking a spill. Could this be a Phoenix?
The Phoenix is a large jump.
Could be a very early Fire Giant instead.
That might be the call here. We can get a chase, get taunted out. Could be collapsed on, but does use the ultimate. I don't think he needed that. I think if eUnited chase weakened, they get collapsed on by LG.
Definitely, absolutely. And Golf Fury is respawning in 10 seconds. That could be a lot of a safer call. The damage that was coming out from Scream onto Geno around that left side of the Tier 1 mid tower to start things off was non-existent. There was no damage coming from Scream on the bear. Yeah, I understand you're going for a pick here. You have Butcher Blades to give you the true damage. But if you're not going to find the damage on the Artio, how are you going to actually engage on a team that's playing off of their frontliners anyway?
Tower damage and structure damage, largely the same. Crit plays in it, and that's a deeper conversation than we need to go into. Tower damage and structure damage, largely the same. Oceans and keegsmate take care of the Gold Fury, no big deal.
Absolutely.
Easy.
Easy peasy. 10,000 gold lead coming out of Luminosity.
At 18 minutes. It's funny. The jungle picks kind of have driven this game. This is Arachne, known as the early game character. We got a tier 2 tower at 9 minutes and 59 seconds. We have no towers in the middle lane either. Just a ton of work being done by Luminosity early in the game.
Now, it doesn't really look like Weekend is doing much, but he's played cleanup crew a lot in the duo lane. He's been a part of every single kill here, sitting at 4, 0, and 2. And to kind of get the benefits is Oceans here. That dive onto PandaCat and PBM was just so crucial, especially that first blood coming onto PBM. And that is just so tricky.
Terra pops the ultimate.
Yeah, setting up for Weekend. That's the communication right there. They're trying to find a kill onto PBM, but with those shield stacks, absorbing that primary bite.
Love this play. This is Weekend in a nutshell. Look at me. Look at me. Everybody hate me. Please hit me. Beat me up. Oh, P.S. My team doing everything I need them to do. This is Weekend the Playmaker. I love watching this guy come out. Gets the tier 1 tower, no problem. And now eUnited want to punish Luminosity, but they're half HP.
I think it was just kind of a damage check, but Screammmmm doing a damage check onto keegsmate, forced to retreat, gonna get stunned out. PBM using that ultimate defensively, bringing Geno into the fray.
Say goodbye. Say goodbye. Just walk away. Luminosity's still playing with this, but I think they want to retreat.
That was a good stun from keegsmate, but no other follow-up close enough. It's Kiki split pushing in the left-hand side. He wants to get the waves closer to that Phoenix in preparation for Luminosity to switch lanes.
And that's why we saw that whole play. That's a really, really intricate play. Weekend puts himself in a position that gets him punished because his team is looking for a 4-on-5 because Kiki's all the way in the other lane. Kiki's in the other lane because he knows he can impact the team fight by wave the global ultimate. None of these are mistakes. It's such a wonderful, wonderful smorgasbord of options that Luminosity has set up for each other and executing very well.
Weekend definitely having a lot of trust in his teammates and a trust in his build, going for a lot of movement speed. Heartseeker, Stone Cutting Sword, having speed buff available, having the ultimate to disengage. He has the tools at his disposal so he can take those risks because he knows that he can get out.
Well, this is a really standard build for not Arachne, but for just junglers in general. When you're playing jungle in Season 5, you're building Boots, Crusher, Heartseeker almost 100% of the time. One of the few exceptions to the rule is actually across the way. Screammmmm on the Bakasura, a character who a lot of his damage comes from true damage, so he doesn't have to actually build into the power, opting instead for his item suite.
Going for that Hasten Katana, going for Atalanta's bow as well, increasing his movement speed and attack speed.
Yeah.
As long as he's consecutively hitting people, which he will do once he uses that ultimate. It's a huge cone. Can't really miss that one.
Also, the luxury of the Talaria boots. This is 25% movement speed. You're zooming through the jungle. And I think if you ask any jungler, they would buy this every game if they could, but you need that power. Baka doesn't, so we can let it go. Fire Giant, started by Luminosity, already half HP, and this is going to be a full relinquish by eUnited.
Screammmmm.
No, over the top comes Screammmmm, looking for it, can't find it. Fire Giant goes the way of Luminosity. Screammmmm on the right side, going to be taken out by Weekend. Fight coming down south. There's the dash forward coming out from Terra, looking to control these players while Lumi deals with Benji up top.
The stun not good enough from Kiki to lock down PandaCat. Weekend thinking about looking for a slow, but not in range. The rest of his teammates get the benefit of a tier 2 tower. On the top side is Venenu, was thinking about split pushing, but if he commits into that, it's going to be a free Phoenix coming out of Luminosity.
See, not only do you have the Soul plus Hunter has always destroyed Phoenixes, but Weekend on the Arachne is also bringing a lot of tower pressure and Phoenix pressure. These objectives are melting.
So think of Season 3 Luminosity, different lineups. Xenotronics, Barracuda love to flex Soul and any other traditional physical hunter for that same reason.
Here comes another fight. Mid lane is the target this time around. Low is Kiki, still dancing with the enemy. Has to be out of there, no problem. Suns come down, looking for the Phoenix, still alive. Last hit, it's good. Luminosity 5 players strong, relatively low is Kiki, but he'll be able to sustain himself by way of that Fire Giant buff. There are no towers left on the board because Luminosity did their homework early. All they have to worry about is this far side Phoenix, and they'll take a look at it in a moment. Right now, eyes on the prize. It's about the Gold Fury.
Scoring themselves 2 Phoenixes during this Fire Giant buff siege and still having that buff round their waist for another 2.5 minutes. Plenty of time to back to base, spend all that gold in hand, look for their 5th, 6th item slots, and go for this last remaining Phoenix in the dual lane.
What a turnaround. And this is close to a 20,000 gold lead, Anatoly.
This is really impressive out of Luminosity here.
Did you? I want raw answer. No.
Here's what I'm going to say. Here's what I'm going to say.
Did you expect this, Toli?
No, I did not expect this. But now that it has happened, do it on land.
You can see it.
Do it on land.
Sure. But you want to know what's funny? I did not expect this at all. But now that it's happened, I can see it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
There are times when you see teams, what I mean by this, folks, is when you see teams sort of play up, sometimes you go, wow, I never would in a million years. Yeah, let's see them do it again. Here, I'm saying, let's see them do it again in earnest. I think this team can repeat this. Weaken, I always say that people underestimate Weaken. Simply just underestimated. Same thing with Kiki. keegsmate, NotGeno, and Ocean's kind of unknowns for a lot of people, but look at what they're doing. They're setting the stage for the left side push.
eUnited trying to hold on. keegsmate takes out Screammmmm effortlessly. Jumping away is PandaCat, getting chased down by Weaken. Defensive ultimate coming out of PBM, but can't find the pulls. 3 dead members from eUnited and LG strip away the last Phoenix.
Is it enough? I certainly think so. Benji's gonna get jumped on. Benji's gonna get smoked. Weaken 6-0-3. Fantastic performance. And Luminosity Gaming has 2-0'd the defending world champions in a best of 3.
Raise your 667s in the chat because
Woof.
that was a just fantastic performance. Getting the first blood on both games, very important for the mentality of your whole team, not just your jungler. And considering you're playing Arachne there, how can you go wrong with the first blood there?
Loved it. I think a lot of people really contributed from eUnited. Weaken front and center with 6 kills there. What are you guys thinking? MVP for that one. Kind of tough to deal down. What's your choice, Toli?
In that specific game, I would have to say Weaken in game 2.
Yeah, again, I loved the selflessness of that play that enabled his team to push up on the right side for that tier 1 tower in solo lane, where he just dives and it's funny because you got to think of the metagame, the true metagame, the game outside of the game. You're playing against the player. Mm-hmm. When you see Weaken doing that, you just want to hit him.
Got to find a way to shut him down.
You're just trying to shut down Weaken. Anyway, what a wonderful surprise. Luminosity up 2-zip. Let's break it down with Finch at the desk.
It is Finch at the desk. We'll keep that bit going as long as they'll let us do it. LG 2-0 eUnited. Again, I have Taco with me here on the desk. Maybe it's not, but maybe it's hard to believe. Maybe you wouldn't have predicted it, but it happened either way. LG looked great in this opening set.
Luminosity, for as fantastic as they looked, I would also have to say in game number 2, eUnited seemed to just have some sort of team collapse.
Yeah.
They did not look anything like their former selves that we saw out of their Worlds performance. And again, huge shout-outs to Luminosity for just taking advantage of the moment. It was really an incredibly dominating performance out of them, especially in game 2. Weaken just got off to a really hot start on that Arachne. That's the start that you need. You're taking a risk versus reward case situation here. Weaken with the Arachne and Screammmmm with that Bakasura, except that Baka just could not pan out very well.
Well, Taco, it sounds like Mixer Chat agrees with you here on that. Weaken is going to be the MVP from that game, and I mean, can you blame them? 6-0-3, 12k damage on this Arachne pick. I mean, he looked strong on it. There was a point in that game where he was diving a tier 2 tower, and he makes it back out unscathed. I mean, that performance was excellent. I agree with y'all on that one.
When you have such a massive lead against the gods that eUnited was running, there was just no real opportunities for them to try and come back. Bakasura is not one of those gods where, oh, it's fine, guys, we're taking this to the late game. He is an all or nothing kind of god, and Weaken kind of had the same theme going with this Arachne. He just found the necessary kills to put himself ahead of the competition, and it worked out so well for Luminosity in this game.
And this is what we don't always get to see from Weekend, because a lot of the times Weekend will play gods that facilitate for the team. I mean, you know, he used to play like Thor. He'll play gods with lots of control that'll help everyone else out. He played Robin and Arachne this set, if I'm correct. I mean, that is Weekend playing for Weekend and showing what he can do, and this is what he can do. He can be the MVP of a game against the world champs.
And again, prior to the set taking off, we just kept talking about all this team synergy that we'd seen from eUnited and that we were expecting, but it just crumbled in Game 2 especially. There was pretty much no one, it felt, for Ven to utilize that Morrigan transformation off the ultimate. I mean, you don't want to turn into a Baka, really. You're not really too excited about turning into an Arachne either, because the rest of your team needs some sort of follow-up potential, and it just felt like he wasn't able to provide it, not necessarily because of how he was playing, but just their team comp did not really seem to mesh very well with each other.
Yeah, I think picks and bans are certainly a story of this set. Not just the Bakasura and the Arachne picks as well, but Soul makes it through in both games, and Oceans pilots it excellently in both games. We've been talking about how great Weekend was in that game, but I mean, the amount of damage that was being put out by Oceans on that Soul was crazy. PandaCat yet again struggled to try and get his legs underneath him going up against that Soul in lane. I mean, it's just been really potent so far.
People tend to severely underestimate the potency of a solid team composition and great drafts, and again, that's kind of just one of those things where if it's missing, you will notice it from being there. And for Luminosity, it worked out so well for them because they had a solid front line. Being able to have that Artio and the Terra, I think, was a well performed by Kiki, especially on that Terra, because he was tanking everything, and he didn't even have that much physical protections. He didn't need to worry about it. His team was just so far ahead that he had the leisure of building into some of those more sustain oriented items on that Terra, making great use of that ultimate as well. So the dive composition, again, that really seemed to be the reoccurring theme here for Luminosity in Game 1. We found it with the Robin. Game 2, same sort of concept with that Arachne. Just so much possibility to chase down kills. It felt like PandaCat and Venenu never had a chance to breathe.
Yeah, and I keep looking down my notes, Doc, and I keep going, well, I mean, this was a good game there by Oceans, and Keegs looked great there too, and so did Keeg, because everyone played really well for them in Game 2. I mean, it looked phenomenal. Hu Yi was the pickup by Keegs there to take into the mid lane as well, and you talked about it before the set even started, or the game started. It's a pick he's very comfortable on. I mean, this is he got to play, basically the whole team got to play their A-priority picks, it felt like.
One of the best parts about Keeg, and one of the main reasons why I believe he was selected for this roster, is because prior to doing anything Conquest related, he would focus almost entirely on duel matchups. And I know a lot of people back at home might not be taking duel as, you know, the most intense game mode by any measure, but it teaches you mechanics, and having a player that can fill into almost any role between hunters and mages, very important, because Keeg just has such a wide god pool selection. It's very hard to target him out, and I think that eUnited kind of experienced that today.
They certainly did end up experiencing that. LG looked phenomenal. Again, they came out of this set 2-0, so that means they get 1 point. No points really end up going the way of the world champions. Not the performance they were looking for in their first set back. Again, though, your MVP there was Weekend, and we actually have him standing by for an interview. Let's hear from him.
Thanks a lot, Fish.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, what's up, Weekend? How you doing? Congratulations on
good,
the
buddy.
victory, man, first and foremost. That's what I want to lead with. My first question to you is, has it been too long? Are you happy that SPL's finally back?
I mean, we've been grinding for the past 2.5 months, three months just about. Like, we've known everything that was happening. A lot of you guys didn't. So I'm ready to just show you guys what we can do.
And talk to me about that, because that's where a lot of fans are like, well, world ends and my screen goes black, and then sometimes I watch some streams, but we don't get that professional play. What exactly goes on behind the scenes on a team like yours?
Well, I mean, it started off kind of crazy because nobody knew who was playing and all the new orgs and everything that was going into it. But once all that was established and we had the 5 players we wanted to play, I mean, we've been scrimming everybody. We've played I think every SPL team and just about every minor league team as well. And it's just been a grind. I mean, it was finding ourselves, and I think we're there.
Finding yourselves is a big one. You guys are coming in. A lot of the rosters are Barrett and Jeff, right? You guys are coming in with keegsmate and taking Kiki back. You guys are surprising a lot of people. What's it like kind of going up against the titans of this league with the roster you guys have amassed?
I mean, a lot of people think this is like a leftover, like team that was thrown together, but when I originally pitched teams, I wanted Venenu and Kiki. They were the two people I initially went for. I talked to them first. I wanted to play with them on these teams. Keegs was picked up because that's who everyone collectively wanted to play with, and then Geno was also who we collectively wanted to play with. And you really never expect to do well right away, but we've blended, we've meshed really well, and everyone gets along. It's strange. I haven't been on a team like this since AFK. Everyone will remember that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, this is the closest I've been to that, the happiest I've been, the best team I've been. The atmosphere is completely different. Granted, we have struggles we're still going to go through. We're not going to win every game. But once we get to those struggles, I expect a lot out of us.
They say a lot of the game is feel, and if you're feeling like you felt on the AFK days, I mean, you allied the crew. You guys dominated. When you is that what you see in with this team?
Yeah, this team has really surprised me. It's completely different style. I'm not the head shot caller. You've got Venenu main shot calling. You've got Geno just about main shot calling, and I'm kind of like third in line command, however you want to look at it. This team has communication that every team I've been on has lacked. You have 5 players that are all on the same page, all talking about the same stuff, and I think it's going to be amazing what we can do. I just hope we get the chance to show you guys.
I certainly think you guys surprised the hell out of the people at home. I'm going to let you go in just a little bit, but I got 1 or 2 more for you. I really want to get down to it. Weekend, you are the heel of the scene, right? And you're coming in kind of proving everyone wrong. Do you feed off of that? Is that something that Weak Daddy is about?
You already know I do, man. I think we all knew this first game more than any other game was going to be very important. Everyone says we're last. We're irrelevant. We're 7th place, right? Not a chance. There's 0 chance we end up in last place. We all play off of it. The whole team has like this mini ego we kind of joke about where everyone knows they're very good, but we hype it up a little bit more just so we play up to that and we do kind of what everyone doesn't expect us to do. And I think that's what this whole split, this whole season is going to be about, is just showing everyone up, showing everyone they're wrong, and winning.
Well, I absolutely thank you for doing it, and you've already proven people wrong in game number 1. I wish you the best of luck throughout the rest of the season. It's a pleasure watching you again in the SPL.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us. Of course, that's Weekend, the big man on Luminosity Gaming playing jungle. Thanks a lot for the interview, and back to you, Finch.
Thank you, Tom. Good to get to hear from Weekend there. I mean, looked excellent. He, as he said, confident like he was back in his AFK days. So LG able to get that 2-0 victory there over eUnited. But that's not going to do it for us here in the SPL. We got some more coming for you all. It's going to be CLG going up against Splice next. So stick around. Now go get your drinks, go get your snacks. That way you are ready for this next SPL set.